Hello and welcome to another lecture number 18. And in the last lecture we were talking about the perspective grid tool, and in this lecture we will move forward to the mesh tool. Here is the icon for the mesh tool on the left side, and it's like something I'm going to make this icon for you with a square, a real quick outline with a pencil tool. I'm going to make an artificial mesh for you. So here is the mesh tool icon look like. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to start with the square. I'm going to make it fill with black. I'm going to use one circle, one rectangle, one, what do you call it, a triangle, and a star, or many other shapes that you want to use. I'm just going to use the basic shapes over here. We have these 5 shapes, and I will apply the mesh on these. So simply I'm going to make mesh on this one. I will try to click 5 times on each shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is how a mesh is made on a square. If you come to the circle, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is how a mesh is made on a circle. This one on a square, this one on a circle. 1, 2. This is very similar to the square. 3, 4, 5, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 and 5. This is how a mesh work on a triangle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how a mesh work on a star, and you can just practice these with different shapes. I want to make sure that if you are clear with the basic shapes, you can make many difficult or very detailed images with the mesh tool. So practice on the basic things, make sure your base is strong, and then move to the larger scale. So a mesh is dependent on the shape of the object. So if it is square on all sides, the lines will be straight. As the outer boundary for the circle is round, so whenever we click, the shortcut for the mesh tool is U on the keyboard. So pressing U and clicking another mesh line on the circle. As we going closer to the boundary, we getting more rounded lines, going more closer. So this is how the circle mesh works. In a triangle, it is just depending on these 2 sides, on the star, and same like this. Now why do we create this mesh? So we want to have a 3D feel for the circle. So if I click on these anchor points by selecting this direct selection tool, I'm going to click over here and I can just recolor this section, this area around this anchor point to any other color like gray. So just one click and we already getting the 3D feel for the circle. I'm going to select all of this, and from the direct selection tool I'm just deselecting this point, and I'm going to give all of the other anchor points a little darker color, something like this. I'm selecting these points collectively like this, and we'll give it more darker shade. This point will be like almost black. This is how we give some lights and shadow effect to any object. Now if I simply simply place one piece of ellipse over here and give it a gradient, or I'm going to use mesh again instead of gradient. Using these 3 points to be all white, and here we have the shadow over here. So you can see you already got some 3D effect on this shape, the circle shape. This is how we can work on the star as well. I'm going to select all of these points. We'll color this little lighter as this would be, and we already got some very cool effect over here. I think this is enough for now for the star. So making these mesh can make you feel proud many times, because what I made with the mesh tool was something this. I made this with a mesh tool. You can see how it really feels like some realistic image, and I will show the actual image I copied. It was yes, this one. This is the actual image, and this one is a vector. I'm going to open the vector file for this. Open vector mesh done. Here is the file, the ball. You can see the mesh, how I made the mesh. This is for the light, this is for the core color. Here the shadow is going to start, the main shadow over here. This is a reflection and all of it. This is simple gradient. This is mesh again, and this is the basic knowledge we have to keep in mind that one point the light is directly hitting the object, This is the core color of the ball, this is the highlighted area, this is there is a shadow and cast shadow, and this reflection from the ground. So all of these lighting thing we have to keep it in mind, and this will result in the better mesh. So I made two of the mesh, putting on top of one of each other, so I can have a little better result. So this is one mesh. Another file that I made with the mesh tool is this one. This one I made with the mesh, and it's not just one mesh. So I'm going to tell you that you can make complex images when you are done with the basic shapes. I'm going to delete this one as well. We can edit yes, we can edit the shapes. Like if I have something like this in black color, I'm going to put some mesh over here, and I want something like this. I want light over here, but I don't think so light is a good, this is a good place for the light. So I'm going to reshape these. And make this up. Now if I color these parts, 3 4 5 sorry 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, and recolor these to a lighter tone, see how it goes. We cannot get this result with the gradient, so we use mesh for this. This was a basic lecture for the mesh, and I will upload the higher detailed mesh lecture soon. So for the sake of this tutorial, this complete Adobe Illustrator learning process, I'm going to leave the mesh here, and the ball was a good example for that. And if you want to see more of these examples for the mesh tool, you can subscribe the channel, and once I upload the files, upload the videos, you will get the updates. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.